I hereby announce my retirement from Formula One by the end of the 2022 season. It's really how you lead your life that sets the most impressive examples. There are no shortcuts.
One of the most impressive things I've ever seen.
A change of surroundings, a change of environment is always a new beginning.
Sebastian Vettel, you are the world champion!
It's writing a new chapter, obviously, in my life, but I think in a lot of lives and all the people that are involved inside the team.
You're the 2011 world champion, well done! You're the triple world champion, Sebastian Vettel! Fantastic, you're a four-time world champion.
Ultimately, you need to enjoy what you do. If you have that joy, then that joy can be expressed in many ways. It can be absolute silence when you're just focused. It can be being obsessed with preparation, trying to squeeze every single bit of information out of the engineers.
Sebastian Vettel starting on pole for 51st time in Formula One. It's lights out. Vettel gets away very well.
The new chapter together with Aston Martin is right in front of me. You know, it's a new family that I'm joining, and there's a lot of excitement around. It's a big step, it's a new step and a new journey that we are together embarking on. Who am I? I'm Sebastian.
Day of the year in motorsports at the biggest single-day sporting event in the world. It's an overcast late Sunday morning at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where a crowd of over 300,000 are settling in, some here overnight.
The beginnings of Sebastian Vettel's story in Formula One was that of trial and error, an experiment which sought to carry and land a future Grand Prix driver into the F1 paddock. By every measure, the starry-eyed kid from Happenheim, Germany, carried with him a dream to emulate his hero's success, and to prove to the older and wiser flock of drivers that he too has earned his seat at the table. His beginnings were in retrospective one of the greatest success stories the sport has ever seen. A young talent sped through the ranks, and by a stroke of misfortune on another racing driver's part, Sebastian saw his first outing at the 2007 US Grand Prix.
I'm 19 years old. It's obviously not that old for F1, but yeah, I'm looking forward to my time here.
His first full day at the office was greeted with critical acclaim and saw the young German hold his nerve after falling back at the start of the race to finish 8th. It was enough of a spectacle to prove himself ready for a full-time contract with RedBull Junior team Torro Rosso for the following year. And it was the following year where all eyes were on the German wonder kid.
And BMW Sauber tester Sebastian Vettel has walked into a race seat at Torro Rosso after Scott Speed was sacked by the team earlier this week. The strained relations between the Californian and his bosses reached breaking point after a disagreement at the European Grand Prix. Vettel drove his new car for the very first time on Friday morning.
And there's a lot to learn, a lot of new situations. You know, you can feel the car feels completely different with high fuel, low fuel, and you just have to learn how the car reacts in all these situations. But overall, I think we enjoy it so far.
Despite getting off to a slow start with 5 consecutive DNFs, the young German eventually found his footing and proved to be one of the fastest midfielders on the grid, scoring consistently in the points. But it was after the summer break of 2008 where we the fans witnessed a spectacle at the Temple of Speed.
Vettel hits it and away we go. We're racing at Monza. Sebastian Vettel leads a Grand Prix for the first time.
His performance was everything you would expect from a world-class driver, from managing tyres in variable conditions to fighting off stiff competition from rivals. For many watching, it was a breath of fresh air. The new kid, the underdog, had done it.
Youngest winner ever.
Torro Rosso gets its moment in the sun. Sebastian Vettel is a Grand Prix winner for the first time. He's the youngest ever, and that's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in Grand Prix racing.
But for Sebastian, that day in Monza was memorable for another moment, and one that proved to be life-changing. 8 minutes and 42 seconds after Vettel had crossed the line, the circuit fell silent before reaching a crescendo from the now famous pairing of the German and Italian national anthems. It was a sound that the Formula One paddock had become all too accustomed to, for it was the soundtrack to the dominance of Michael Schumacher, the greatest driver of them all. In that moment, Sebastian Vettel realised his childhood dream. In the years that followed Seb's outstanding Monza performance, the F1 paddock grew more fondly of the name Vettel, immediately progressing through the ranks as a reserve driver to the Red Bull Junior team and now finally into the main RBR side. And although we wouldn't know it then, but the genius that is Adrian Newey together with the team at Milton Keynes had produced the finest race car Red Bull has ever seen. The pairing of Mark Webber along with all the tools that the team had to offer gave Sebastian his second win, his third, fourth and fifth Grand Prix victories. It all culminated in a fierce championship battle that went on until the penultimate round in Brazil, and in doing so, had cemented Sebastian Vettel as a serious world title contender.
You have time immediately to let the emotion sink in, and if I look back seeing the image, I know exactly what I felt, and I was crying after the race. You don't know how many chances you get in your life to fight for the World Championship. It could be over tomorrow. Really to come that close and then to miss the target, it's a very strong emotion.
Coming into the 2010s as a runner-up the previous season, all eyes were on Sebastian and Red Bull to see if they could mount a convincing title fight. They had decided to keep the pairing the same, and while chess moves were being made around them, including reigning champion Jenson Button to the McLaren where he'd partner Lewis Hamilton, as well as the hotly contended Ferrari seat, now taken up by Fernando Alonso. But there was a real sense of hope from the MK outfit. They didn't try and rock the boat too much, and Red Bull very much stuck to their guns by simply building off their RB5's incredible design and continuing off their yesteryear's learnings. The 2010 season also marked a milestone for the F1 grid, with 3 brand new teams announced as well as the return of Mercedes being piloted by Nico Rosberg and the legendary Michael Schumacher. For newer drivers, including the likes of Lewis Hamilton, this was a moment of euphoria as he was able to live out one of his childhood dreams, to one day race against the Great One. But perhaps there was none more taken aback than the young Sebastian Vettel. You see, for Sebastian, this was more than just a novel experience of showing off your new skills to a master. This was an opportunity for his fellow countrymen to nurture that talent and begin to pass forward more than just driving ability to one another. There was now a pure mentorship which differed to that sort of nurturing from driver academies. This would prove to be the ultimate master and pupil relationship. After much anticipation, the season got off to somewhat of a strong start, with both Red Bull drivers showing pace in early rounds and even picking up wins along the way. But it was Sebastian's teammate, however, who showed to have a clear advantage of the new RB6. Experience was showing in the face of growing pressure from the opposition. Perhaps it was that inability to hold his nerve for a consistent number of races. That was his biggest weakness. And come 3/4 of the way through the season, 5 drivers were in contention of being crowned world champion. Ferrari's Fernando Alonso took a dominating stance and looked to be a crowd favourite going into the final few rounds. But Sebastian too was also determined to extrapolate the true pace of his car, making a last-ditch effort for his own fortunes.
He refused to accept defeat. He refused to accept that was the end of his championship challenge. His attitude in in that adversity was hugely impressive.
For me personally, I distinctly remember watching those final few rounds and realistically knowing the battle was between Alonso and Webber. Too many things would have to happen for either Hamilton or Vettel to win, and being honest, I didn't mind. It was an incredible season with a number of different winners and great surprises along the way. As fans, we just needed to know who would be crowned, and that question wouldn't be answered until the very last race of the season.
As Formula One arrived in Abu Dhabi for the last race of 2010, it did so with 4 men involved in the greatest title struggle ever.
4 drivers still in with a chance of winning is very unusual.
I think all of us had key points where it probably slipped or, the tide turned.
That was one of his worst qualifying sessions, Mark Webber, when he needed it to be one of his best.
We had periods where, we got treated like a hero, and then other times where it was a little bit more rough for us. The atmosphere in the paddock, everyone was extremely pumped and excited, so it was difficult to be patient, wait and do the normal preparation.
I can't recall at any other season having as many contenders for a championship.
I feel confident now. This weekend is time to do it.
The others are the ones that have to worry. I don't have to be cautious whatsoever.
I believe in myself.
I think it's time that we have a decider.
You are tensed, you're nervous. In the end, I just said to myself, try to win that race and everything that comes on top is a bonus.
We've ended up with this incredibly intense series.
When we went into the race, obviously I started from pole. I had the best position to start from. The aim was always to become world champion one day.
As we leave the grid at Abu Dhabi, Vettel moves forward. Alonso comes through a button's got the jump. Alonso down into 4th.
We've got 2 Mercedes side by side and they make contact. Michael Schumacher round. Will he?
Oh, the big smash there. It's Lewis. He's gone straight into him as well. Away we go. We're racing once more.
We are thinking at the target +5. Target +5. Okay. Come on, let's pass him. You can do it. Come on. Box now. We box now. Confirm, please.
Out of that pit lane, and there is Mark Webber. Has Alonso get out ahead? It seems he has.
Okay, Vitali, Alonso behind you now. You are racing him. Alonso behind. You are racing him.
Okay. And here comes Alonso going through the inside of Petro, but he's careful not to lose. He's almost getting off the track. He has gone off the track. You cannot gain position now. Petro's got through.
Come on, Sebastian, give it everything you've got. Come on. Kobayashi on your right. Watch out for Kobayashi.
Kobayashi will try on the inside, maybe. He's having a look. Vettel has kept ahead.
That could have been a world championship making a pit stop.
You did a good job. Just keep dumping those laps, okay? Stay focused.
Come on, mate, we've got to pass him. He's going to be there all race. We cannot let this guy ruin our race. Come on, we've got to pass him.
This is the last lap. This is the last lap of the race.
Sebastian Vettel wins in Abu Dhabi.
Okay, Sebastian, good job. I need to wait until everybody crosses the line. I need to wait, but it's looking good. You just wait, sunshine. You just wait. Hamilton, P2. Button, P3. There's another 2 cars coming round in 15 and 16. You wait. We just need the 2 cars, mate. Just those 2 cars. I think you'll like it. Rosberg, P4. Kubica,